scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, 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 scissors, shoot.
What's up, guys, to another podcast, Couple of Nobodies. My name is Ryan Mayo.
I'm Josh Sampson.
And today we have the wonderful Jeremy Ball with us.
Hi.
So, I guess we should just start right into it. So, what was your childhood like?
Awesome. Most people probably wouldn't think it was awesome because I lived in the country and it, we didn't have much, but I had a dirt bike, I had bicycles, and I had sweet parents. I had a brother to keep me entertained. We had shovels, and we had dirt jumps, and we did whatever it took to kind of have fun. So we were pretty inventive, and it made us, living in the country and not having cars, we didn't have cable, no internet because I'm old, and we didn't have that stuff. So we spent a lot of time outside, rode a lot of bikes, rode a lot of dirt bikes, and just had a lot of fun, I guess would be the best way to describe it. So it was just fun, man. Michigan kid from the country.
So then what would you do during the winter?
Oh man, that's depending on the age. When we were younger, my dad had this 3-wheeler and he'd pull us behind on a sled, which was pretty awesome in itself. Then at 9 is when we started to ride BMX a lot. You could never ride motocross in the winter, so at 9 we started to ride BMX a lot, and we would always we had a big room in our house and we could ride our bikes around that room just in circles. Like, that's how bad we wanted to ride. So we did that a lot, and then we would shovel off our bicycle jumps, and so they were like pre-trails. They weren't really like trails, they were just like jumps, and we'd shovel those off. Do skids in the driveway, like just stuff like that. We would sled. We had a good sledding hill on our property, and snowboarded. We started to snowboard. I think I was like 13 or 14 when I got my first snowboard. My brother snowboarded, so we'd snowboard a lot too. But just do whatever we could possibly do to get by and have fun and not go insane. No cable in the winter. I don't really know how I did such a thing when I was younger. So we did that, man, and it was awesome. So we've got a lot of good stories about my childhood, a lot of fun things. Do you want to know them?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. So my dad raced motocross in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, and he still rides. He's 65 years old, and he still rides moto. And we wanted to be just like him. So when I got, the famous story of the family is that I started riding a 2-wheel bicycle without training wheels when I was 2.5. And like, there's these pictures of me setting up a brick and a piece of wood and just like charging at this, like to try to jump it. And I was on like a little 12-inch wheel black bike, just no helmet on, blonde hair flowing in the wind, no shirt on, just going for it. And I can't believe my mom let that slide. So that's one of them. But we just wanted to be like my dad, and so we would mimic motocross with our bicycles. I started racing motocross when I was 4, and then we've got some other solid stories. This one came back to haunt me a couple years ago when I separated my shoulder. I was 13, and my dad and I were at a motocross race, and the deal was that you just couldn't get hurt because my mom was a nurse, and my dad he never wanted my mom to freak out. My mom would freak out because that's how she rolls. So it was a motocross race. It was the first practice of the day. It was a 2-day race, and I was 13, and I went over a berm and broke my collarbone. Fast forward 16 years later, I'm like 29. I'm in the doctor's office with a separated shoulder, and my doctor made me go take this x-ray, and my mom's the nurse in the room. So My mom never knew about the broken collarbone when I was 13. My dad's like, if you tell your mom, she won't let you ride motocross anymore. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tough this out all summer. I toughed it out. We never went to the doctor, never did anything. Collarbone healed naturally on its own. Don't ask me how. 16 years later, fall. 15, 16 years later, fall. Separate my shoulder. Go to the doctor. My mom's the nurse in the room as I'm holding the sacks that like dislocate your shoulder so they can take the X-ray. And the doctor's like, when did you break your collarbone? And I was like, I didn't. And my mom's like, look, there's clearly a collarbone break right there where it healed. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I never broke my collarbone. And she's like, yeah, you did. And my mom had to leave the room, and the doctor, I'm like, I turned to her, I'm like, listen, I broke it when I was 13. She doesn't know about it. You can't tell her. She's like, okay, I won't tell her. And then as soon as I left, she told my mom that I had a broken collarbone since I was like 13. So thanks, Dad. That's another good one. But
so did you know that it was broken, or did you just like feel the pain?
Dude, when I was 13 and your collarbone's sticking up like 2 or 3 inches, you know that it's broken. And then the break's still like clear as day on the X-ray. So it's like, it was just hilarious because I thought I was like scot-free on that one, and I wasn't. So my mom like called me later and she's like, why didn't you ever tell me? And I was like, because you would have freaked out just like you're freaking out now so many years later. So it was kind of funny. So that was another classic Ken Ball story. Ken Ball's my dad. So, but I mean, there's more. There's so many more good ones that he just he always had my back though. He always did a good job. So
So what got you into like BMX?
Motocross. Started to ride that. You know, we knew what BMX was because of Rad, but we thought BMX racing was like you wore leathers and a helmet and like a full face helmet, and you know, you ran laps around the track. Like we didn't know what BMX racing was other than the movie Rad, which I made my mom rent every week when we were when we were younger. So from Felposh, she would go and rent the movie for me, and I'd watch it like religiously. I still have it on DVD. But so BMX came from moto, and the rule was we couldn't ride motocross when my dad wasn't there. So my brother like was 3 years older than me, so when he's like 9, he's like shoveling, making jumps next to the motocross track and just like trying to jump them, like trying to emulate what we're seeing. And you know, when I was 9, I got my first real BMX bike, which was a Dyno Nitro. Phenomenal steed right there. Fluorescent yellow, got it for Christmas. Changed my life. My brother had a Robinson, and so we started to you know, think about BMX a little bit differently then. My friend Dan, his dad, had this excavator, and he built him a BMX track, but it was like a hell track BMX track, like Rad, like where you ran laps. Like we still didn't know that BMX was only like one lap. So then Dan got an issue of BMX Plus. BMX Plus had local racetracks. Fort Wayne was a local racetrack. So that summer when I was 9, we went to Frankie Park BMX for the first time ever and raced. And then from there, it was cool to race that because you could go with a friend's dad or you could go with your mom, and it was pretty easy. You didn't have to load motocross stuff up. You didn't have to do all that. So BMX started to kind of take over because you could go race on a Thursday night and you could still race motocross on a Friday or a Saturday. And you could ride BMX when your parents weren't home, and so we did that a lot. So
you got into racing, and then what pushed you to do freestyle?
Oh man, this is crazy. Fort Wayne BMX once again. This dude shows up. We'd never seen. We'd seen like fast guys at the track, but this guy showed up and was so fast, and we were like, "What the heck?" And he had a #1 on his plate, and it was Brian Strebe of the Strebe brothers, and he was like national #1, 18 to 21 expert or something like that, and he was so fast. So we started to talk to him, and he was a sponsored rider. We were just blown away, and I think at this point we're like 12 years old, and he tells us about these trails by his track that he in Warsaw, Indiana, his jumps at in Syracuse, and so we beg our parents to take us to Warsaw, and then from Warsaw we go to his trails, and we're just blown away by these things. And so the first trails or freestyle we ever saw in person were the Strebies. That same day at Frankie Park, when we saw the Streebie for the first time, my friend Dan won a props in a 50-50 raffle, and that blew our mind because we had no idea that BMX was like that. There was like a Dave Osato interview. Jay Miron was in it, you know, just like killing it. Dave Mira, Taj, all those guys. And so seriously, through the BMX track, we got introduced to trails and to freestyle, and you know, we're just really blown away. So yeah.
So there's pretty much motocross, bike throughout all of school.
Baseball
too.
Cross country and baseball. So I ran cross country thanks to my my cross country coach. His name was Mr. Krebs, and I still like remember walking through the hallway, and he's like, I heard you were a good runner in middle school, you're gonna run in high school. And I'm like, no. And he's like, too late, it's already decided. I was like, great. So yeah, cross country and baseball. My dad played baseball. I always played baseball growing up. That broken collarbone story, I had to play baseball through the summer with a broken collarbone. It was my left collarbone, so I could still throw, but I just played first base. And I never hit, I always bunted. And yeah, it was pretty crazy.
So like, what were you like in high school then?
Oh, man. It was the 90s. I'm gonna just throw this out there. It was the 90s. I was like a ska punk kid. It was the 90s. It was my excuse. I don't know if you guys are familiar with ska music.
No.
Oh, goodness. To all the listeners out here, ska music, look up Real Big Fish. You know?
That's a band name?
Oh my god, yeah, dude. It's horns and like offbeat. I was in a ska band. I was in a band, dude.
So what instrument did you play?
Trumpet. We were like a punk band with horns. I wore like checkered pants and checkered shoes and had dyed hair. It was like a parent's like, it was the 90s, man. It's like, watch 10 Things I Hate About You or something and you'll understand where I was at. But it was the 90s, but I don't know. I was just like a punk rock kid. Drove a ratty car, a Ford Tempo GL. It didn't have reverse. Had stickers all over it. I got pulled over in it a lot. That was sweet.
What you pulled over for? Just like speeding?
Oh my gosh, the most classic pulled over story that I got. You're gonna love this one because you live hot and now. So, driving in this Ford Tempo in Indiana. I'm by myself. I got my bicycle in the back seat, and oil leaked in that thing like crazy. So I always kept oil in the back seat. And then I was really janky because I was in high school, and I would change the oil, and I would like just transfer it from one container to another, and then the oil would spill in the back seat. But I didn't really care because it was a 1988 or a 1989 Ford Tempo GL. It was white, stick shift, no reverse. So I got pulled over in Indiana, but every time before I went to Indiana, I would always go to Hot Now and I'd buy 10 burgers, 5 fries for $4.99. And you know, you'd eat those for like 2 days or whatever, and it was just disgusting. But what you didn't eat, you know, would always find its way like under the car's, you know, seats and everything else. And so what ended up happening is I get pulled over, and this cop wants to search my car for drugs because that's what I looked like. So I'm like, no, you can't search my car. And he's like, well, by you saying no, that gives me proper justification to search your car. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So he like pulled my bicycle out of the back seat, and he apparently is not paying attention, and he like looks all through my car visually first, and he's like sees the bags sticking out underneath the seat, and he thinks that I obviously am doing something. So the police officer like puts his hand down into the like rear floor of my car where the carpet is, and just sticks his hand in nasty old ass oil. And before he realizes, he's like both hands are in it, and he looks and it's on him, and he had like kneeled in the car, and so now he's got it on his uniform, and he like reaches under, and it's like this neatly rolled up brown bag, and he thinks that he's like got me, and he like pulls it out, And he's like, ha! And he opens it to moldy hamburgers. This is the best thing I'd ever seen.
Awesome.
So then he's like, you're good to go. And he's like trying to wipe off. And I'm like, sir, you didn't search the trunk yet. And he's like, I don't need to search the trunk. And I'm like, well, you want to search the trunk? I can just pop it. It's a button. And he's like, fine. Open the trunk. And I opened the trunk and there's nothing but crappy bike parts in there. He's like, you're good to go. I was like, sweet. He pulled me over, loud exhaust. That was what I got pulled over for.
Really?
Loud exhaust, yeah. It was loud, I'm not gonna lie. So
like that was like your image like all throughout high school then?
pretty ratty. Yeah, that would be it. Ratty. College too, I was pretty ratty in college. So yeah, I don't think my profession right now won't allow me to be too ratty, I don't think. So
Very true, I feel like. So like, where'd you go to college at?
Western Michigan University.
All 4 years?
It's 5, dude.
5 years?
Super senior. Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do my first year, so I took some classes, then tried to figure some stuff out. It was actually 4.5 because like a half a year is an internship. So I would have graduated in 4.5 if I didn't have to do my internship, but I had my internship. So
then, what was life like that in college? Just like normal college life, broke?
no, I didn't drink. I didn't party. It was pretty BMX filled, man. At that point, yeah, you're right, I'm broke, so I'm not riding motocross anymore. And plus, I was pretty burnt out on it. BMX kind of started to take more of a focus in my life at around the age of 16. I chose Western Michigan University because of KZoo Skate Zoo. Shout out to KZoo Skate Zoo. You guys?
You chose the college for the skate park?
Yes. Yes, definitely. 100%. I mean, yes. And it had good street. I wasn't a street rider because I'm from the country, but I knew that they had good street and I could learn how to ride it. And there were a couple of trail riders who went there. The Van Orman brothers went there, and I knew that they were going, so I knew that I could possibly meet up with them and we could get some jumps going. Even though the jumps that I rode in college weren't really my jumps, they were more their jumps because I kind of focused more on the skate park stuff. But yeah, they were still nice enough to let me ride them. But yeah, so just a lot of BMX. I would go from skate park to class. I would go from class to the skate park. I'd ride street at night. My senior year of college, I was like brakeless street rider, like not like street rider like like 4 pegs and grinding stuff, but street rider like Stephen Hamilton street rider, because Stephen Hamilton's awesome and I really respected what he did. I want to be like him. So and he rode Western a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. I got a lot of motivation from like my roommate Jeff DeGrice, probably one of the best, most underrated riders ever. Ted Van Orman, same thing, super underrated. We had a great scene for many years there. So yeah, college was chosen based on a skate park and BMX.
See, like, I feel like that's very like unique, just because like most people like choose colleges like, I guess like some like where like their friends go and everything.
Yeah. No, man.
Skate park.
KZoo Skate Zoo.
Like just for, like, cause like, were there like other skate parks that were better, but like you just didn't know about?
No, dude. It was like 01, so because I'm 34, so it's 01, and no, man. It was like if you went to Central, there were no skate parks up at Central.
Yeah.
There's nothing up there. There was a place that closed in Owasso, but that was that's it. As it closed, it wasn't like the Skate Zoo. There's, if you went to the east side of the state, maybe you could have gone to Eastern and rode transitions and stuff. But, really I was thinking about BMX in the winter. I really like BMX. And we had a sick scene, dude. It was like my brother, Chad Rule, Ryan Rule, this kid Paul Lehman, Matt Morin, Asian Bob. Like, we had just a sick scene from like the Grand Rapids kids could meet in KZoo. My brother could go from Coldwater, and Chad and those guys could go from Coldwater to KZoo, and I could stay in KZoo and like ride with anybody. We had a sick scene. Plus, you had riders coming in from Chicago all the time. So yeah,
It's pretty neat.
So you're a teacher?
Yeah, I'm a teacher.
What grade do you teach?
7th grade social studies. 12 and 13 year olds. I teach an 8th grade leadership class too.
Did you always want to be like a teacher in throughout college, or were you not sure what you wanted to be?
Well, freshman year is when I had like the change of heart. We had to do a class project where we had to work with some like underprivileged kids from the inner city area, and I worked with them and I liked it. And so because I worked with them and I liked it, I thought, man, this would be something that I could really get into. I wanted to do graphic design, but oddly enough, I was like, 2001, I'm like, oh, graphic design, there probably not going to be any careers of that in the future.
Yeah.
So,
a lot.
Sure enough, right? But no, I don't think I could be happier about the direction that I took. So, yeah, Fuzzy Hall. Yeah, dude, this happened so many times in my life. Just like little random things that just blow your mind. But Fuzzy Hall, the legendary Tim Fuzzy Hall, 1998, King of Dirt, South Park, or I'm sorry, DK Dirt Circuit, not King of Dirt, my apologies. DK Dirt Circuit, 1998. My brother is like 16, 17 years old, and no, he's 16 at the time. We took my dad's truck to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Crazy, like no cell phone, no GPS, a stinking map. Like we take the truck, that's what we're gonna sleep in. We're gonna go ride trails. We're gonna go to the BMX track, to this big race, South Park's BMX race. We're gonna watch the DK Dirt Circuit, and it's gonna be awesome. So we go there, and we're just gonna sleep in the back of the truck, we're gonna hop over fences and swim at pools, hotel pools. And so we found a pool, and it's, we're like, maybe we can go in, it's pretty close to the BMX track, maybe we'll see somebody who is, like there, who we could throw our bags in their room and make it at least look like we're staying there, so it won't be too obvious that, four ratty kids just jumped the fence to get into the pool. So we go into the lobby and look, and we're like, we go down the first hallway that we see, and there's a kid riding his bike in the hallway, and I'm like, hey, could we throw our stuff in your room so it makes it look like we're staying here? And he's like, yeah, man, no problem. So the kid goes and knocks on the door, and my brother is the first one like standing at the door, and the kid's standing behind us with his bike. The door opens, and it's Fuzzy Hall, and Fuzzy Hall opens the door. My brother's like, whoa, and Fuzzy Hall goes, whoa, and the kid's like pushes his way through, and he's like, hey, these guys need to throw their bags in the room so they can swim in the pool because they're just like crashing it. And they're like, that's awesome. It's like Matt Behringer's in there. They're like putting together Matt Behringer's bike, so it's like Matt Behringer and Fuzzy Hall. And the kid that let us into the room was Mike Aiken.
That's insane.
The next day, Mike Aiken wins the DK Dirt Circuit Amateur Contest.
Dang.
Blown away. And then he like rides from Bully. He gets picked up by Bully after that, and then the rest is Aiken history. So.
Like, that's just insane. Like, that's really random too.
Like,
yeah.
It just happened to be that person.
Yeah. It's just like, and I mean, if you know Mike Aiken, if you've ever met Mike Aiken, you like can tell the face and everything, and I still remember it. And he was the same age as me. I think he's like a 14-year-old ratty kid, just kind of like rolling around. What are the odds that that's the person who you meet, you see? So it's kind of cool.
So like, were your parents all right? Like, for being 16, your brother being 16, you being 13 at the time, right?
Yeah, 13, 14. Yeah, 98.
And then you go.
98, I would have been 14, and because that would have been the year that I would have turned 15 in July, and that national was like July 4th, so I wouldn't have been 15 yet. Parents were awesome, dude.
He's like, that's like a 6-hour trip, 5.
Oh yeah, definitely. In my dad's truck.
They're okay with it though?
Totally.
That's awesome.
My family is like, they're a little bit different. My dad never second guesses anything. We go to Rays, like you go to Cleveland, and I'm 34. My dad still calls me on Saturday mornings, and he'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" And it's like a blizzard. And I'm like, I'm going to Cleveland to ride bikes." He's like, "Cool." He does never second guesses it. My wife moved across country to go work in Oregon, and I think everybody thought it was weird, but because of how my parents raised us, where we just always went on trips and stuff, my parents were like, "That's totally normal." I mean, they never second guessed it. My dad's like, yeah, that's a sweet experience. She's got to take that one up. And everybody else is like, your wife's moving across the country for 3 months? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, that's weird. And I'm like, no, not really. It's pretty normal. Yeah. I go on trips all the time. But yeah, my parents would let me go to races with people who they didn't know. They were just cool. They trusted my judgment. So yeah, rad people.
That's pretty cool.
So, you said how freshman year you decided to become a teacher.
Yeah.
Throughout freshman year to the end of college, like, did you have any like second guesses on that, or was it pretty much?
Dude, I have second guesses every day.
Really?
Yeah. No, not really. To be honest, it's no, I thought it's what I wanted to do. Like, you think when you're like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, you think you got the world like in your palm of your hand. You think you're gonna make a difference and you're gonna, you know, change the entire world, and you figure out it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But then you're still like a little motivated to do it. So it's just, teaching's like the perfect thing for a BMXer because there's something different every day. You never do the same thing ever.
Yeah.
Every hour is gonna throw something different to you, and you've got to be gotta be creative. So it's you know, and plus the stories that I get to share and like the things that I get to give to my students, like Hannah Roberts. Hannah Roberts just texted me earlier today. She's gonna come and talk to my class. Like, I'm gonna get to bring an Olympian into the class.
Yeah.
Like, dude, my 7th grade kids, my 8th grade kids are gonna be blown away. They're gonna get to meet an Olympian.
Didn't they already meet her though?
The 8th grade class did. She's coming back, man. World champ, dude. World champ's got to come back. Right?
Two-time world champ.
2-time world champ's got to come back with their UCI jersey or medal. Like, I'm like, if you do not wear that Nike USA uniform, you're crazy.
Oh yeah.
So,
like, what? So let's go to like fast forward 15 years. What is your feelings on BMX in the Olympics? Like, overall.
Today or in 15 years?
And today.
Today? Sweet. I mean, like, it's not. It's like, there's so many different ways of BMX, but it's like, it's awesome. I don't think the general population gets it by any means. Like, I don't think they understand it at all, but I think that the first year BMX racing was in the Olympics. I play men's fast pitch softball. We were on our way to a national tournament. The first year that BMX is in the Olympics. Like, I don't really brag about BMX. I don't like talk about it. People don't have an idea, I think, that I do it. If they're not in the BMX, they have an idea that I do it. But I think people in BMX kind of know something about me, maybe. I don't know. But I'm riding in this car with this guy who I normally don't play with, and we're going to Iowa together. And we're driving, and they're talking about how they just took softball out of the Olympics. And he's going on a rant, and he goes, "Do you know what's stupid? Do you know what they put in the Olympics? BMX." And he proceeded to go on a rant for like 20 minutes on how stupid BMX is. And I'm like sitting in the backseat of the car, just like dying laughing. I'm like, this is so hilarious. And the dude who's sitting next to me is like, "Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think about that?" I was like, I mean, I could see your point. Like, I'm not going to argue with somebody about it. Everybody's got a different opinion about it. Some people like football, some people don't. BMX in the Olympics, some people are going to like it, some people aren't. But, I mean, the BMX that's in the Olympics isn't really what I do. But it's not going to change me at all. It's not going to change what I do. It's not going to change the bike that I ride. It's probably going to change some environments. It's going to change parental involvement. It's going to change how kids look at it as a freedom thing. Some kids, but not all kids. And I think there's still going to be the Cody Diggs of the world. You know, there's still going to be Brian Fosters. There's still going to be Scotty Ocolette, and there's still going to be rad dudes. Kurt Perkins from Utah is like somebody who comes to mind who's like, I'm sure Kurt Perkins doesn't care that BMX is in the Olympics. It's not gonna, maybe he cares, but it's not gonna affect his riding. Just like, I think it's awesome that it's in there. I'm gonna watch it. I mean, I got friends in it, man. Yeah. Like, that's awesome. So great for them. It's a great career opportunity. Everybody gets something different out of BMX, and you know, those guys are able to make a living off of it, which is cool. Yeah. Something I was never able to do. But I'm pumped for them. So more power to them.
Like, I feel like just because like with the U.S. team, like half of the U.S. team is from like kind of like the Midwest. Yeah. Like Nick Bruce, Colin Walker, and Hannah.
Yeah. Corey Coffey, she's from Detroit.
Oh, really?
That's where she's at right now. Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, man.
Like
Angie Marino, I think she's from New York originally.
I know she's like in San Diego now. I think
Arizona.
Yeah. That's totally off.
It's alright, I'm not mad at you.
Alright.
It's not like I'm not tight with Andy Marino. But she did help me get a helmet once. So
What kind of helmet?
TSG. Thanks, Andy Marino.
I got a TSG because of your TSG.
Yeah, which is a direct relationship to probably the TSG that Andy Marino got.
It's not like me and Angie are like best friends, right?
That's 6 degrees of separation. Is that how that goes?
I don't know, I never heard that.
Me neither.
In BMX, like, what was your favorite part about it? Like, was it the freedom of being able to do whatever you wanted, or like just you just liked it, or like what was your favorite part about it?
The leg shake. That's like the leg shake when you do something that just scares you so, or before you do it, your heart's racing and your leg isn't shaking yet, but then after you do it, then you get the leg shake and it's like so epic. People are like, you want to go to Cedar Point? I'm like, no. At Cedar Point, like, I get it, but it's not the coolest thing to me because Cedar Point, you're strapped in, it's safe. I mean, my jumps, bad stuff could happen. You know, that's where you get the leg shake. That I like that scared feeling of, you know, and that thing where you accomplish what you've been thinking about all day, or you know, that feeling of accomplishment. I like that, and my wife will attest to this, being angry when you're not able to ride. You know, I'm probably terrible to be around if I'm not able to ride. If I haven't ridden it for a week, then I'm like not probably the nicest person to be around because it's so ingrained in me. I really like that too. I like that it totally has shaped my culture, it shaped my attitude, it shaped my beliefs, it shaped my travels, it shaped my friends, it shaped how I dress. People are like, why are your pants so tight? I'm like, so they don't get caught in the sprocket. Why are your shirts so tight? So they don't get caught in the bars. Like, people don't get it, man, but that's all stuff that's impacted by BMX. Dude, it impacts, instead of a new kitchen in my house, we built a ramp in my basement.
Yeah.
I like that. Like,
That was pretty cool.
That's how much I love it. That I love that too. So I don't know.
I've never heard of anyone else having like a ramp in their basement or like in their house.
Like, yeah, I would like to think that ramp construction took it to the next level.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, we used to ride in our one friend's basement, and like we thought it was the coolest thing to have like a rail, makeshift rail. It wasn't even like, there's like a 6-inch rail off the ground, and like we'd skateboard and stuff, and like piece of like plywood with a 2x4, and just ramp right off of it. Like, just like the littlest thing, and we thought that was so cool. And then you built like an actual.
Well, I'll be the
ramp
first
construction.
Ramp construction. Corey Wargowski and Nick Bullen, they built it, and we fed them and housed them, but they totally destroyed it on the build. I mean, it's the most epic thing. People are like, "How do you ride that?" And I'm like, it's just so fun. How do you not ride it? It's in my basement. How do I not go down my stairs and ride that thing?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So like, when you were talking about your leg shaking.
Yeah, leg shake.
What was like? Do you remember like the first time you got that scared to do a trick or do a jump, or like the last time that really scared you?
Last time with the double leg shake. Anytime I ride the big line at my house, the 30-footers, I don't get leg shake every time I ride those. It's pretty chill. But when you start 3 in them,
oh yeah,
that's when you start getting leg shake. Like when you start, when you're pressing that level, you get some leg shake there. Hazelwood Trails gave me some leg shake. I did riding at Caddy this year. I got some. I've really only ridden my jumps, and then we went out to Caddy in September, and like 3 in Drunks, which is the big line down the middle. That gives you some leg shake, you know, like the first 2 times, and then you're like, oh yeah, I've done this before, I've done this a lot, so that's all good. But even something that you've done, it still brings it back. I mean, it's scaring yourself to where you're not comfortable, but you're still comfortable. That makes sense.
Like, I feel like the last time I had it was when I did a front flip on Resi.
Yeah.
And it was just like I woke up that day, I'm like, dang, I want to do a new trick. I knew that I was going to the kitchen, and then like with that leg shake, like I haven't felt that in a long time.
Yeah.
Like other than a flare, which I've done those before.
Yeah.
So like it was just like it was just like intense, and like it's something that like at least like once or twice a year, I want that to happen.
Leg shake, yeah. I get it, man. There's something about it that's just really addicting. It's that's the next level of adrenaline rush. Even if stuff goes wrong, like even if you fall, you're like so pumped full of adrenaline that you can get back up and go tackle it before your body locks up. That's pretty sweet. So.
And then you feel it the next day.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
So, how do you feel your parents shaped you today?
So
like throughout all the years.
My mom, here's what I got from my mom. My mom is a pleaser, and she will do anything for anyone at any time. And I like to think that that's how I am, because I'm a pleaser. It gets me burnt, and it's gotten her burnt, but she is the most kind, caring, and giving woman. So I saw how she really gave, and I saw how selfless she was, especially to me, or like child. So I learned that from my mom. My mom also, she taught me this important lesson about words. Once you say something, you can never take it back. So once those words are out there, they're out there. They know, like, you've said them. There's no pulling them back. They're forever there. Yeah. So you need to be aware of what you say. That was my mom. My dad is the most respectful, dignified person who will give you the shirt off his back. The difference between my dad and my mom is this. My mom will like give you shirt off her back, just so nice, so awesome. My dad will give you the shirt off his back. He might call you an idiot for having to give you the shirt, but he's going to give it to you, and then he will buy you another shirt just in case if you screw up again. Like that's like my dad is. He will like do whatever it takes to make sure that you're safe and you're successful. But you know, where my mom says, watch out for the words that you say because you can never take them back. My dad says, how are you ever going to learn anything if you're talking all the time? Like that's who my dad was. So, or is. But my dad's very driven, very stubborn. That's another great quality and trait of my dad is that he's not going to let something hold him back. He's driven. He's 65 years old and he still works hard at everything that he does. And he's stubborn because he's not going to give up on the things that he does. Yeah. So that's the good part with my dad.
So when did your BMX career kind of kick off?
When I was 16. Oh, when I was 14, when I'm racing, I was on ESPN2 for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I was on ESPN2.
Did you get to watch yourself?
Easter Classic, yeah, man. It aired later. I still remember there was this kid who rode for the same team I did, and he had a cell phone, and I called my dad, and I was like, I made the main. It's going to be on TV. And he was so pumped. So I was pumped, too. I didn't do very well. I think I finished 6th or 5th or 6th out of 8, but I mean, I made it out of the motos, out of the quarters, out of the... So I did all right. So that was cool, and then the BMX career took off when I was 16, and this is my cross-country coach's story. There was a jumping contest at Higher Park BMX, which is in Warsaw, Indiana, and it was on the same day as the Sturgis Cross Country Invitational. Sturgis.
Shout out Sturgis.
There you go, Sturgis. And I was 16 years old, and I wanted to go really bad. And I told my coach beforehand, and he said, here's the deal. You can go only because I think you have a possibility of doing something with BMX in the future. And I said, really? And he let me go. And I went to the contest. I got 2nd place. I won $400, and I took everybody out to Arby's. Oh yeah, definitely. I was 16 years old, $400. That was crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I was psyched. Yeah.
And then like from there, you're like, go try to get sponsorships.
No.
Or did you?
I was like, sponsors are funny. I was never hooked up when I was younger. Ever. When I was in college, I thought I rode pretty well, but I mean, I was totally content. That I was just gonna be like, it is what it is. And I think it was like 25. Yeah, 25, and I was driving to school I was driving home from school because I was at the corner of Jonesville Road, where US 12, and somebody, it was a strange number that I didn't know, and I answered it, and it was Eric Block, and he was like, "Hey man, have you heard of the Like Bmx?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, they need an American rider. They were thinking about you," and I'm like, "Me? Like 25, man." And he's like, "Yeah, it'd be perfect." And I was like, yeah, put me in contact with them, see, because they were from England at the time. And, one thing led to another. And it was really weird because, I had accepted that when I was 18, 19, 20, my friends were all getting photos of magazines and I never got anything. And I wasn't mad about it. I just thought it would have been so cool to feel that feeling, like to be in a magazine. And I remember I was like, oh, if I get in a magazine, I'm gonna like really feel good about myself. And then I never did. And I was like, I was seriously like 24, 25. I was like, it's never gonna happen. It is what it is. And then all of a sudden, like 25, I get that phone call, and like I got that phone call, and apparently like the month before, my friend Sean had shot a 360 tape at these trails that I rode in college called the Grizz.
Yeah.
And they had sent the photo to Dig, and Dig really liked the photo, and Dig found out that I was a teacher. And before like any of this stuff happened, this all happened like within a month. They're like, "Oh, we want to do an interview with you in Dig," and it was for a feature called Alter Ego, about like BMX riders who have like alter egos, all different careers. And mine was as a teacher, and I was like, so like in 1 month I went from never having a picture in a magazine and no sponsor. I went to like sponsor, interview in probably one of the biggest BMX magazines in the world, and then all of a sudden like things like started to happen, and it was kind of cool.
It was like a late bloom type of thing.
I guess, man, better late than never.
That's very true.
So then from there, like we did, I don't know, different stuff. But I think I've always like held true to my roots. There were some things that I did once and I thought they were cool, but I thought, not for me. Like the Dew Tour, I thought it was cool, but it wasn't for me. So I didn't want to go back, and I didn't want to do it again.
You got any Dew Tour stories?
I mean, it's just funny because like you go there and the jumps were bad and it was windy. It was like a 30-mile-an-hour side wind, and the first set's like 28 foot. And it's like it just wasn't. Just wasn't for me, I guess would be the best way to describe it. They're like, "You gotta go," and I'm like, it's like a 30-mile-an-hour wind right now. Can't we just wait 2 minutes and it'll die down? They're like, "No, you gotta go now," and I'm like, this is stupid. And so I wasn't into it. But that's me. The difference between I think myself standing on the top of that roll-in and other people is I was standing up there and I knew that I was gonna get my paycheck deposited from my school like 3 days later. So I didn't really care. I was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. And everybody else up there is like, it's their career. And I'm just like, so there's a different level of pressure. I don't know. I do remember Zach Yankish, Catfish, was announcing, and Catfish and I go way back, like when I was like 18. So Catfish was announcing, and he said some really nice things about me, which was cool. And I still remember it. Like I heard him talking about me before I dropped in. I was like, man, Zach said some really nice things. He said I was wearing the official trail rider outfit, which was a pair of cutoff shorts and a t-shirt with a helmet and no pads. So it was the official trail rider outfit. And I remember that. Met TJ Lavin and Jamie Bestwick. My wife was kind of blown away by that. We're leaving and we're talking to TJ Lavin, who was the nicest guy. So that was kind of cool.
See, like, I know that TJ, he has like a back injury now.
Face
injury.
Yeah, he got a TBI. The year so how it worked out was TJ Lavin, for the open qualifiers of the Dew Tour, they took like top 15, and I was sitting like 15th, and TJ actually bumped me out. So he bumped me out, which I was like, I was kind of upset, but now looking back on it, I wasn't really upset. Yeah. And then he took my spot, and which is, hindsight, it's kind of unfortunate because he got hurt in Vegas that year. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it was Vegas was the Dew Tour stop.
What year was that?
6 years ago, maybe. I don't know.
So 11?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
So Brett was in there?
Yeah, Brett, dude. Brett had to ride open qualifier. I think he won open qualifier. So, yeah, Brett. It was the year when Brett was just killing it. He was like backflip double barred the first jump. I was just 3 in it, and he was like double whipping it, and I was like, dang it, this little 15-year-old kid is just killing it. And it was fun. Chad Curley was there, but Chad Curley wasn't street Chad Curley. Chad Curley was like a little ramp Chad Curley. That was pretty funny too. Glenn Salyers, rest in peace, was there. So yeah, man, it was pretty sweet.
So like, where have you been? Because I know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the best thing in my eyes for being a teacher would be the vacation time.
Yeah.
Having summers off.
Vacation's funny, man. Last year I didn't travel at all. I wasn't feeling it. It's not that I don't. I have such like this obsession with my jumps that if I'm away from my jumps for a couple days, I worry about what's happening to them, because I put so much time into them and I like them a lot. But you know, I've been to Europe. I've been to Canada, which was another hilarious story in my life, which is also kind of like a sad story. And then I've been to 47 of the 50. So I haven't been to Maine, but it's like the 47 of the 50 that I've been to have just seriously all been BMX trips.
So like, have you been to Alaska?
No, I haven't been to Alaska, Hawaii, or Maine.
Dang.
So, but everything else has been like straight BMX trips. But
in every state.
Your favorite trip?
You know, there was an Austin trip, the first time I went to Austin, and I remember my friend Ty and I driving home, and it was just him and I, and we'd been gone for like 3 weeks, and he was driving, and we were driving into the sunrise because we left super early in the morning, and I remember that the windows were down, and I had my feet out the window, and he just, you know, we weren't saying anything. It was just an epic moment because we had just had an awesome trip. So that's probably like, I don't know if I have a favorite trip because they've all got something awesome going on. The deluxe trips have always been good. The deluxe trips have always been awesome. But I think like that trip and that moment with Ty was kind of like a cool one because it was the first real long one I'd been on. First time I'd been to Austin. Pretty life changing. So yeah.
So then, you said you went to Europe.
Yeah.
France. What was that like? Being in a different country.
Dude. France.
Totally different country.
What made France great was Max Bmx, who rides for Deluxe too, because he's French and he's from. We went and stayed with him in Pigny, and Jeremy Mueller. They totally made up for our American ignorance. You know, that's like I took French when I was in college, and I was decent. You know, like I could say enough, I think, to get by, and I can understand what people are saying. But those dudes, like, those dudes really helped us, and so it was frustrating. I remember landing and this is nothing against those people. It's just I'm so Midwestern raised, you know. It's like I remember landing in O'Hare being like, I don't ever want to hear another accent. I just am so over accents right now. Like England accents, and like I just don't want to hear any more accents. I want a grilled cheese and tomato soup and no accents. I just want some America right now. Like, give me a Mountain Dew, no Mountain Dew. And I don't drink Mountain Dew anymore, but at the point I was like, just wanted a Mountain Dew. Alex Boyd in England would like import Mountain Dew. That was kind of funny.
Really?
When we went with him, like we're staying at his house, and he's like, "Hey, do you want a Mountain Dew?" I was like, "They don't have Mountain Dew here." He goes, "I import it." Yeah, he busted out a 12-pack of Mountain Dew like it was a fine wine.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Did you eat any like weird food while you were there?
I was a vegetarian, so like, I mean, when everybody else was grilling weird stuff from the meat market, I would just buy like a baguette and some cheese and tomatoes, and I would wrap it in foil and just put it in a fire and like let it melt, and that was pretty much my diet. So cheese, bread, and tomatoes. Probably not the healthiest thing, but I think I was burning it off. So I had that going on. You know, pizza, they would have like these pizza trucks, and every pizza in France comes with olives.
Really?
Black olives is strange. I thought, well, at least the ones Max always brought me. Dude, food story. This is a classic food story. It's a water story. We're at the trails, and dude, this is gonna be awesome. Can I tell the whole thing?
Yeah, you can tell the whole entire thing.
Okay, so when, sorry, Seb Yates, if you happen to watch this. So it all starts in England. We're supposed to get picked up. Mark Patazzi and I are supposed to get picked up by this kid, Alex Boyd. And then we're supposed to drive with Alex Boyd to this kid, Seb Yates' apartment. And we're going to stay with Seb, and then the next day we're going to drive to France. So we're getting ready to, we get picked up by Boyd. We're trying to find Seb Yates' apartment, and we can't find it. Well, so Boyd calls Seb on the phone. He's never met him before, and he's like, hey man, we're trying to find your apartment. We can't find it. And he's like, where you at? We're sitting at a bar. And he's like, all right, I'll be there in a second. He rolls up in like a tank top with the most boy band haircut I've ever seen in my life, and like perfectly sculpted facial hair. He's like, what's up, dudes? And we're like, and Boyd like looks at him. He's like, all right, so we'll follow you. And Boyd rolls up the window. He's like, this guy might be a cock. And he's just like, he's got a, I'm not exaggerating, like a brand new 2011 Mercedes rattle can flat black. Like he rattle canned it in his driveway, like a Mercedes wagon. So sick. Like we like didn't know what to do. The reason we couldn't find his apartment is because it's in like a gated mansion. That his parents like built this separate apartment for him, and so they built this apartment. He lives above it. It's like this sick 2-story thing, like a bidet and all this like fancy stuff. And so we don't know anything about any of these people. I know Mark. Mark knows me, but we don't know Boyd and we don't know Seb. And we stay up and we just like laugh all night, and it's great. And the next day we wake up and we drive to southern France. And so we drive all the way through southern France. We get to know one another. We're having a blast. Life's pretty good. Fast forward to these trails. We don't have any water. And there's supposedly a grocery store like 5 minutes from the trails. We don't have a GPS because nobody's phones work in France. England phones don't translate to France, and our phones weren't going to work. So we go from the trails on this mission to find this supermarket. And Seb's driving this sick, flat black Mercedes, and there's like 3 of us in the car. And Seb pulls up to this like pretty girl standing on the curb, and in French he's like, "Où est le supermarché?" Like really like trying to be suave, like, "Where's the supermarket?" And the girl like looks at him like he's an idiot. And he's like, "Où est le supermarché?" Like, "Where's the supermarket?" And she's like, "You're at it." We were in the parking lot, we had no idea. So like we park the car and we go inside, and it's a freaking mall. The supermarket is like in a mall. So we go and we're trying to find this water, and I'm pretty broke and they're pretty broke. Everybody's broke. And we find this water. It's called Centrax. And it's in this pink case. It looks like Evian is what it looked like to me. So I was like, it's Evian. And I'm like, dude, look at this. And it was so cheap. It was like 50 cents for a liter bottle of it.
Really?
I was like, oh, we got to get this. So we bought 2 cases of it. We take it up to this thing, and all these people are staring at us, and we like swipe it. We pay for it. We start walking through the mall, and like the bag's ripped that it's in, and the water falls all over. So we're like these American idiots trying, these English guys trying to pick it all up. So we like start to pick it all up. And we go drive back to the trails, and we think we're the heroes because we've got all this water and everybody's thirsty at the trails. And Max Bemar's like, "You idiot!" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "That's chick water." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "It makes you pee." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "When girls want to get skinny, they buy that water, makes them pee." And I was like, so the water would straight dehydrate you if you drank it.
Oh.
So we had all this water, and that's why on the thing it says Centrex, and the X was a human body that went skinnier, because apparently it made you get rid of all your water weight.
Yeah.
That's my food story from France. Was that good enough?
Yeah,
That was
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
It all deals with Seviettes and a flat black Mercedes asking a girl where the supermarket is.
See, like, at the beginning of the story, you said how you never met Boyd or what was the guy's name?
Seb, yeah.
Seb. Like, I feel like with like action sports and everything, that happens kind of often.
Yeah, man.
You never really meet them, but like you just start like hanging out with them and everything like that.
Yeah, you know who they are.
I feel like it's easy to kind of like make friends, like with other people that do action sports in general, just because like
Yeah.
you all have like something in common.
Yeah, common bond.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like you because just because you ride a bike, but it's gonna give us something to start talking
Yeah.
about at first. Yeah, for sure. Which is rad. Dude, skateboards, scooters, rollerblades, whatever. I'm down with it all.
Mhm.
Like, I think everybody's got that passion.
That's very true. Did you like try to go into any other action sports other than moto and bike?
I mean, I snowboarded a lot when I was in college, but when I blew out my knee, it really limited my ability because it hurts. Like snowboarding is like choppy. Well, in Michigan, it's choppy because of the ice, and it just hurts a lot. It's not like you're riding deep powder, so it's just like and that jar on my knee because I never had my knee fixed. So
Why don't you have your knee fixed?
they said the downtime's like a year and a half because of all the ligament damage.
Yeah.
So, and when I was 18, I was like, I did when I was 18, I was like, I don't have a year and a half. And now I'm like 34. It's like, oh, I'm really not getting it fixed now. Dude. I don't have a year and a half. I need to soak up every moment I can.
All right, so, well, I feel. Take us through the story about you becoming vegan,
Vegetarian.
vegetarian. What's the difference between vegan and vegetarian?
Isn't a vegan like they don't eat anything or drink anything that comes from an animal?
Yeah, vegetarian. Like, I like cheese. I'm sorry, I like cheese. And I try not to, eat too much of it, but it's so good. But, I mean, like, vegans are a little bit more strict. Like, vegans won't eat at Subway because they put milk in the bread. I don't.
Holy crap!
Yeah, stuff you didn't know, man. Just vegans themselves, though, like, I mean, I think it's just they're a little bit more strict with their diet. I respect it. It's good. Vegetarian, I think that's right for me. But it's kind of a wild story. Did I tell you it before?
No.
Oh, all right. We're driving to Austin, Texas. A couple friends and I, and we're driving, and we're rolling in a car, and my wife is vegetarian at this point. My wife is a vegetarian. I'm not a vegetarian. But it's a BMX trip. We're driving to Austin, and it's like foggy morning, and my friend's like, "Holy!" and like swerves, and dude, there's a dead cow on the road.
Good.
Yeah, and this is a highway, and dude, 50 yards later, boom, another dead cow. 50 yards later, another dead cow. They're falling out of the back of a truck.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So like we get to Austin, and when we get to Austin, we go to Whole Foods because if you're in Austin, you got to go to Whole Foods. That's what everybody does. And so we go to Whole Foods, and I ordered a sandwich. It had like it was like a ham sandwich or whatever. It was killer, dude. Avocado, ham, all that good stuff. Sweet bread, ciabatta bread, probably because I like that. And I couldn't eat it.
Really?
Yeah. So came home, talked to my wife, talked it over, and went veg, man. I'm vegetarian. That's a good decision, I think. I like it. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not like I'm not anti-hunting. I'm not anti, meat industry. You got to do what you got to do. It's just I don't preach about it. If I have guests over and they want meat, I'll cook meat. Like I got no qualms about it. It's just not for me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So then, do you feel like that kind of, cause like I feel like you got like a mindset that's really perspective. Like you don't really have like a whole bunch of things, but like you love what you have.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think I've realized, like, how do I want to say this? Empty stuff isn't important. Like, meaningful stuff is. And I get a lot of crap. One of my friends, dude, gave me so much crap because, you know, I talked about how my bike has like a soul. And I really like look at my bike, and I think it has a soul. You know, I think my animals have souls, and I think if you treat stuff meaningfully, then I think that means it takes stuff to like a different level of respect. So like my jumps, like I think my jumps have a soul, and I guess the big thing is I try to treat everything that I have in a meaningful way because it means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
like, is there like any, just like growing up when you're younger and like not having all that much that like transferred over to like how you live now?
I think what has helped more than anything is that BMX itself is pretty minimalistic. There are a lot of really cool guys who live a pretty minimalistic lifestyle in BMX, and they're able to experience a lot, and you look up to those people. Like you look up to like Joe Rich, who was like a very famous BMXer, and I just saw how, you know, he and Taj, like the same thing, like they were pretty legendary people, but they didn't have mass amounts of stuff, you know, like, and that's kind of like one way to put it is all the people who I looked up to, I didn't look up to them because they had stuff. I looked up to them because like the type of people that they seemed to be, the type of people that they were. When you talked about like action sports, you know, being able to interact with people, that's a cool thing about action sports is you can go to a skate park and all of a sudden Ryan Nyquist is on the ramp and you can interact with him. And you can like, I went to 9th Street and Joe Rich was there and he talked to me and I was like, that's Joe Rich. Like, this is awesome. You know, that's when I was like a starstruck kid still. I was like 21, 22. And that was awesome and it was so cool. And I think that maybe not having a lot means that the stuff that you do have you take greater care of, and it's more meaningful. And there's something about that pride in having just good stuff, man. I don't know.
It's very true. Like, because like you met like a lot of people that you looked up to over the years. Like, do you ever feel intimidated talking to them and everything?
I mean, when I was younger, I was pretty starstruck, but I'm not. I feel weird. So like, that was not graceful. You gonna get it? You got it? You good? All right. I feel weird. Like with Mark Potosny, I don't know why, but I can send Mark Potosny a text message and be like, "Yo, dude, I'm coming to Pittsburgh. Let's shred." Chris Doyle, I'm like, I got his number, but I don't want to bug him. And it's like, and he would have no, if I said, hey, I'm coming to Pittsburgh, let's shred, he'd be like, sweet, man, let me know where and when. But it's like, you don't want to bug them because you feel like they probably get hit up a lot and they get bugged a lot.
Oh, yeah. And
you don't want to do that. And it's like trying to walk a fine line where you don't want to be intrusive on people's life because I'm not some like famous BMXer, but like, I know this from teaching that, you know, being a teacher, people can be pretty intrusive in your life, and I could only imagine what it must be like to be somebody who's, you know, like 3rd place or 2nd place in the X Games, and or like wins in X Games or something like that. So I try not to bug them too much. Even like Nick Bruce, I like Nick Bruce a lot, but I'll send him like a congratulatory text message, you know, and just be like, yo, that's awesome. But I don't expect that dude to text me back and have like a long dialogue with me because, you know, I don't want to be intrusive to their lifestyle. So,
because like where I feel like whenever I meet somebody like I looked up to or something, I just pretty much remember, all right, they're just like everybody else.
Yeah, you know, the most important thing, and this is the part that I try to remember all the time, is it's not, people don't ever remember what you say to them, but they remember how you make them feel. And man, that's like I try to make people feel like they're important because I think everybody really is important.
Yeah.
And regardless of ability level or anything else,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like I just try to make people feel important.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at. And I've met some people who have made me feel unimportant. And that really kind of, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything to them, but I'll be like, man, that's not cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that person really made me feel bad about myself, or like unimportant. Like, they were kind of too good to talk to me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not cool. I don't like that. So, everybody who I meet, I try to remember their name. You know, I try to shake their hand.
Mm-hmm.
I try to, you know, when I see them again, I talk to them. I could care less if you can do a backflip double bar or backflip double whip, or if you're like struggling jumping the small line at a set of trails. I care about you as a person. So
Yeah. Any more questions you got?
Yeah, I have one. If you could go back in time and tell a younger you, like, what would you tell yourself? Like, some advice.
I think about this a lot. Like, I think about it where, you know, what would I tell myself? Winning lotto numbers. But no, like not a serious answer. Wouldn't that be awesome? You'd be like, hey, yo, 9, 13, 24. No. Well, here's what I would tell myself. I played the lotto the other day, and my wife and I were talking about, you know, like, oh man, it's like 400 million or something like that. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, you know what's crazy is I feel like we've already won the lotto. And everything that I've wanted in life, I've gotten. I mean, everything. From awesome dogs to a sweet wife to I've been on a cover of magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I've got interviews in magazines. I've got sick trails. I got a ramp in my basement. I got a job that I enjoy. I've got coffee. I've got a cat, you know. I got friends. I've got all this cool stuff. And I guess the big thing that I would tell myself is it's all gonna work out, and you're gonna have a lot of good things. Don't sweat the small things. And I don't think I would change anything that I did, because if I changed something, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Very true.
And I like who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe I would tell myself to break up with that one girl, but I still think that, you know, I had a terrible girlfriend in high school, and might want to edit that out. But anyway, maybe I tell myself that. But no, I don't know. No, I think I'm quite content, man. I think if I didn't have a weak knee, I might be doing different tricks. I might be a different rider than I am today. You know, I wouldn't have focused on the style that I have. If I would have moved away, I wouldn't have the trails that I have. If I would have had a different career, I wouldn't have a ramp in my basement. If I would have switched anything up in my life, I wouldn't have met my wife. My wife was my neighbor in college.
Really?
Never met.
So when did you guys meet? Like after college?
Yeah, dude. So how crazy is this? We were neighbors in college. I tried to talk to her once, but she had headphones in. Still remember that. Yellow headphones. And when I moved in with her, I found those yellow headphones. I was like, you were wearing these when I tried to talk to you. You were wearing a blue shirt. I remember it. But she lived on the east side of the state, over here. So she was from Algonac, Michigan. And after college, she went to Western, and we lived in the same apartment building her senior year. And she went home, and she applied at all these jobs, and she didn't get one. And 2 weeks before school started, she got a job in Quincy, Michigan. She got hired. She'd never been there before. She went there for an interview, and they hired her. And so she moved to Quincy, Michigan. At that same time, this teacher had a heart attack, and he couldn't teach for a few weeks. And so guess who got the long-term sub job?
You.
This guy. And so we met in the copy room at school. And then all of a sudden, fast forward a few years, and you know, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Quincy, Michigan still. She's had some, she's taken some left and right turns, because I think that's what everybody needs to do when they find themselves. But, you know, end up back here, so.
One thing that I wanted to see is you've had the chance to move away.
Mhm.
multiple times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What made you want to stay in Quincy, Michigan?
Quincy, Michigan. Family.
Family. It's very important.
Jumps.
Jumps.
I mean, this is like my childhood. You know, my one of my favorite dogs is buried at my trails. So, and I don't think I could leave him because you know I care about him a lot. Family, jumps, my career. I really love the school that I work at. I was just talking to my superintendent on the phone before you guys came here, and you know, he's a good guy, and I like the people. I've got a side career as a softball coach at Olivet College, so I've got that going on too. So I think I've got a lot of good things going around here, and if you were to move away, I don't think stuff would have grown like it has around here. And my friendships with people, meeting people, experiences. I mean, you've changed a lot since your interaction with me. I'd imagine you got better at riding trails.
I did. I learned 360s really well.
Yes, that's right. It's my claim to fame.
That's very true.
Got you know, learned to dig a little better, and I think you can make Michigan work for riding just as well as you can make anywhere else work for riding. And maybe if you live someplace else where you get to ride all the time, you might take it for granted. And
Yeah.
I don't take any session for granted. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, every session I treat it, I'm very thankful for it. Even though there's not much of a scene, it's made me appreciate, you know, spending time with myself a lot as well. So, and what I can do myself.
Yeah. Because, like, I feel like between, like, Quincy and Sturgis, there's, like, no scene around. Like, you have to travel an hour or two away to get a scene. And then, like, for me, what makes sessions like more meaningful is I know during the winter I'm gonna have to travel to hour to the kitchen, 3 hours to raise, and like I just really hate driving.
But
If you like him, you just build a ramp in your basement.
That's very true. But I have a really bad Michigan basement.
well, then you gotta get lucky, I guess, man, and look for the right house.
I gotta get 9-foot ceilings in my basement.
9 facilities in the basement. No, man. When you think about it, though, all of those trips mean that you want to ride that much more.
That's very true.
And there's something about having that want and desire that there's some good camaraderie that's made on the trips. Dude, those 3-hour trips to, you know, I haven't gotten to take very many with you, but those 3-hour trips to Rays are like where you sit in the car and you talk to your friend and you have some funny conversations. Yeah. You have some adult conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You deal with people who fall asleep in the car while you're driving. You know, it's just like, it's just different, man.
You talk about socks.
Talk about socks. I get proven wrong about socks. Sort of. I was kind of right.
I'm wearing Nike SB, I think, with Vans.
Oh man, it's okay. You guys in socks, man. Sturgis really likes socks, huh?
Yeah,
Is that the deal?
I guess so.
What else we got?
Like, I just feel. Did you have any mentors outside of your parents?
Yeah, like people who shaped me and who
Who are some and like what they do for you?
direct mentorship.
Yeah, because like right now, like I'm realizing that, like, of course, like my parents are mentors for me and like they've shaped my life, but now I'm kind of like looking outside of my parents. Like, I would say like the way that you live your life and meeting you is kind of mentored me into shaping who I am today. Then like other people. So like, who are some of the people that like you've seen to look up to and actually met and have them grow into you?
The people who I think have changed me as far as like friendships would be like Jeff DeGrice and Teddy Van Orman and my brother and Dan Tappeter. Those guys changed me as far as, you know, opening my eyes about not being so closed-minded and about riding and stuff like that, and just even like interacting with people. Other mentors, sorry about that. Other mentors, like motocross, there's this guy named Barry Mayo. He runs the MRA, 72 right now.
Really?
And he taught me a lot about like motocross, like lines to take and stuff like that, which was so cool. people who you look up to, who I think you can count on. You know, in education, I had like my mentor teachers, and I've got some teachers that I work with that really help me try to be good motivational people. Good motivational person. In work, man, you figure a lot of stuff out by interacting with people. I worked with this guy, his name's Tom Saltzgiver. No high school diploma, probably the smartest guy I've ever met. Dude can fix anything, and it's so impressive. And he taught me how to weld, he taught me how to use a plasma torch, like he taught me all this stuff, and he goes out of his way. The dude will like bend over backwards for you. Jason Music's another guy, like one of my friends, another no high school education, but a younger guy, and those are the people who like will take you under their wing and they'll teach you how to do something. And if you, as soon as you learn, like when you're in high school, I remember being like 18 or 19 years old and having this predetermined idea about people who don't have formal educations. And then all of a sudden, all you need is like a guy who didn't graduate high school to, you know more about, so many things and be willing to help you, that it totally changes your perspective, where you're like, you know what? There's something to be said about a formal education, but there's something to be said about people in general, because they have a great ability to overcome, and they have a great ability to do, regardless of educational level or anything along those lines. But so that's kind of it right there. So it's like, I got people from the factory that I worked at, like Tom and Jay. I've got people in BMX like Jeff and Teddy. Mark Batazzi, that guy's influenced me a ton. Justin Desco, he's the owner of Deluxe, and so they say there's the right way, the wrong way, and the Desco way, which is 10 times better than the right way. That's the story about him. I've got my parents, I've got family friends who have gone out of their way. I have coaches who've helped me. My principal was my neighbor. He helped me a lot. So there's a lot of cool people, but mentors can be people who teach you what not to do too, man. You can interact with people and you can say, that person really mentored me because I don't ever want to be like them. And
I never thought about it like that.
Oh yeah, totally. I have those interactions all the time with people, and it's like people who you are forced to work with, and you're like, I don't ever want people to say that about me. But there's some other people too. I mean, you can read books like Mitch Albom. Mitch Albom's a great author who you can read about, and you can learn stories from him. He's very good at telling a story. There's some inspirational, like motivational leadership guys who I listen to who really help me out too. So yeah.
So I've asked all the questions I wanted to. Do you have any more questions, Josh? Because I feel like you've experienced a lot.
Yeah,
in your life.
I hope that I've explained that enough. I hope that I'm.
One thing that I came to realization is, I feel like you've done a lot in your life, and there's a quote going around saying, "Life's not short. You just gotta do more." And I feel like you've done a lot throughout your lifetime.
I try to go because I think that, like even today, you guys were coming over today, and I knew you were coming over at 6 o'clock. So my thought process is, all right, I'm gonna get out of school at 3. I'm gonna drive home. I'll be home by 3:30. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna clean the house. I'm gonna take the dog for a walk, and then by that time my wife should be home, and I should be able to hang out with her, and then I should be able to do this, and then I'm gonna ride in the basement, and then I'm gonna work out. Because if I waste a day, dude, I'm so mad at myself. And
yeah,
you've hung out with me enough to know that it's go. You gotta make the most every day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fit as much as I can into a day, because if I don't, you've done something wrong. So if there's a time where, like with drinking, if you're like hungover, if I was ever hungover and couldn't do something, I am livid at myself. Like I could never do that, because it's not how I work. Like if I can't wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and do what I need to do and have a full day, a full meaningful day, I'm pretty mad at myself. And that's kind of where I'm at. So I wouldn't say life's long, because I think it is too short. Like the memories and the times that you get to spend with people are pretty short. But I think that they're even shorter if you don't take them in.
Yeah, because you don't get time back.
Yeah.
That's one thing that never stops.
Yeah, and that's like, even like right now, it's like where you take a deep breath and you take in this moment and you
Mhm.
say, you want to be able to remember it in a couple of years. And those trail sessions that we had this summer,
Yeah.
it's like, how many times was I like, hey man, just listen.
Yeah.
Like, take that all in. Because it's just sweet, you
Mhm.
know, those days. Or like when you're doing like dip threes and you're coming back up and I'm like, how's that feeling? You're like, good. And I'm like, remember it.
Or when like you're like, hey, raise your seat, let's try suicide today.
Exactly, dude. That's how it goes.
Like that would probably be one moment in my life that I'll always remember because I never thought I'd learn suicides.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where it's at. So, and maybe sometimes I'm a little guilty if stuff's not going my way. I want stuff to hurry up and get over. But at the same time, like looking back, I'm like, why did I want that to hurry up and get over? Sometimes I get anxious, I guess, maybe. But I think life's short, but I think I try to make the most of every moment and all the time that I do have.
Mhm.
So that's with my dog. I always think to myself, I need to take her for a walk because in 5 years I'm going to be upset that I didn't take her for one more walk.
Yeah.
So I need to take the walks today. So
That's very true. Alright, so I feel like we covered a lot. I feel like we covered a quarter of your life because I feel like you lived a lot.
I live a lot, yeah.
So maybe in a month or two, you can come back on and tell more stories. Because I feel like you got a lot more stories.
I got a lot more. If this is well received, we'll see how it goes.
Alright, sounds good. Alright, so that'll be this episode of Couple of Nobody's podcast.
Like, subscribe.
Follow Jeremy on Instagram.
I'm a has-been, never was.
That's the way he likes to put it. Follow Jeremy on Instagram. He just took it off private.
Yeah. So, at Jeremy Lee Ball. That is me.
Right there it is. Have a good day, guys.